Now, chain chomps are quite weird creatures. Just think about it. They are supposed to be some sort of dogs, but they are basically gigantic steel balls. So, are they even living beings? Do they have thoughts? Are there organs and stuff inside of them? Well, we will never know. And that's because this video is not about any of that. Today we will take a look at new chain chomp types that I've come up with. And this time I included some weird and wacky ones, which might be hard to put in a level, but it would certainly be fun to see. But before we jump in, I'm glad to see that all of you like these types of videos, and the ideas you give me are great. Some even inspired me. And if you want to help me out, be sure to leave a like. The almighty YouTube gods find that the most important thing out of all. So help out your boy. Now let's jump right in. And be prepared for some odd chain chomps you have never even heard of before. Now, to start off this video, I want to talk about a chain chomp that would be a bit odd, but still quite cool. In the last couple of Super Mario games that Nintendo released, we saw a lot of prehistoric stuff. A good example is the Cascade Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey, because this is a prehistoric dinosaur-themed area. I mean, the main landmark of the kingdom is the waterfall flowing down from the skeleton of a Triceratops. That should already tell you enough. And across this beautiful world, we also see huge square stones with fossils embedded in them. Think of stuff like old 2D Goombas from Super Mario Bros. When I first saw this, I became more interested in the idea of prehistoric versions of certain enemies. Think of a caveman Goomba, for example. So I thought it would be cool to see some sort of ancient chain chomp, a version made out of stone that isn't as polished. So he's a lot more brittle, moves slower, and is more stiff in a lot of ways. But he can still take you out. In general, I think this would already give us a chain chomp that looks a lot better than most others seen in the series. They could give them some cool tribal designs, similar to what we see in the Thwomp ruins from Mario Kart 8. However, aside from that, they could add another thing that would be quite fun. A weak spot that requires good timing to take advantage of. On a couple of spots on its body, you can ground pound. And if you do that, it will crack and fall apart. This is how you would defeat them. But obviously, you would have to get on top of him quickly before he starts rolling around or moves or anything. Personally, I think this would add a fun twist and also a more interesting design compared to the normal chain chomps. Aside from that, they could also expand the world of Super Mario by adding some sort of ancient ruins filled with information and interesting details on them. We still don't know where they originally came from after all. In general, something like this would be great for world building in the franchise, and it certainly needs more of that. Now on to our next type. A chain chomp that's once again not made out of steel, but something completely different. Rubber. Now, we've all owned a bouncy ball at some point, and to be honest, they are quite fun to mess around with, even though they can destroy everything and you lose them often, to say the least. And what I want to see in a Super Mario game is a bouncy chomp. A chain chomp that's very similar to a gigantic bouncy ball, but this time with teeth and eyes. He just rolls around, lunges at you, and sometimes he will jump and bounce higher and higher. And of course, eventually, he will try to crush you. Aside from that, they can still do all the same moves as a normal chain chomp with one added twist. If at any point he falls or rolls off an edge, he will immediately start to bounce and wants to crush you. For example, you're walking up some huge staircase and he comes falling down. Then, he will start bouncing. And if he falls off some sort of platform, they can use their bouncing powers to get back up again. This way they can really surprise you, because you would never expect one to come back up again after falling off a platform. And when they're bouncing around, they aren't very predictable, just like a normal bouncy ball. Those tend to go all over the place as well. So I think that should also be the case when it comes to the bouncy chomp. Aside from that, Nintendo could also use this enemy to play with color in a fun way. They are basically toys after all, and as we all know, they come in a lot of different colors. Some could have a cool galaxy theme, and others are in bright colors. So in general, Nintendo could do a whole lot of fun stuff with them. Personally, I think they would fit very well in a toy world of sorts, which we have seen quite a lot of times in games like Super Mario Galaxy. So they could bring that idea back. Now on to our next one, a chain chomp that can actually help you out in a way, which is something we rarely see. Usually they just want to rip you apart and that's it. All you can do is maybe use his charge attack to break certain brick blocks, but that's it. However, I want to see a new Chain Chomp version that you can actually use and ride on. Sort of. In a way, it would be very similar to the fight with Iggy seen in New Super Mario Bros. 2. When you fight him, he will sit in a carriage with a Chain Chomp attached to it, and he will use his wand to shoot green fireballs. The Chain Chomp will try to get you and has multiple paths to go, and every now and then he will exit and enter from a different side. Now I want to see something like this in a Super Mario game, but this time Mario uses it instead of some villain. I just want Mario to use a Chain Chomp for once to deal some damage and advance in the levels. And it could be a smaller Chain Chomp with some sort of saddle on it so you can ride on it. Or just a huge one tied to a car of sorts. In a lot of ways it would be similar to the Chain Chomp item seen in the Mario Kart games. In Mario Kart Double Dash, for example, this fearsome beast is an item that pulls you forward when you use it, pulling the cart forward at breakneck speeds, and anyone that's in your way will be destroyed, which makes it a pretty good item in the game. And after a while the chain will snap and the beast will run off. And I would really love to see something similar to this in either a 2D or 3D Mario game. And I bet Nintendo could easily include something like this, and it would be a fun change of pace. In a way, it would be similar to the Mega Mushroom, but this time even more chaotic. I think it would add something fun at least that we haven't really seen before, even though it would still be quite linear. Nintendo needs to restrict you in some way after all, otherwise it will probably go horribly wrong. Now let's move on to our next and last Chain Chomp type. A beast that rivals and rules all in the end. Like I said before in many other videos, there are a lot of different kings in the Super Mario world. Royalty is something you come across a lot in the world of the Mushroom Kingdom. For example, Princess Peach. And there are many, many others. And in Super Mario 64, we even saw that certain enemy types can be a king as well. For example, King Bob-omb, who's the first boss that you fight in that game and its remake. He guards a power star which Bowser entrusted him with, and he does not give it up without a fight. And after this debut, King Bob-omb became a recurring character in later games, and especially in spin-off titles. And in this game, we also saw the Womp King, who's the boss of Womp's Fortress, and he is presumably also a member of the Koopa Troop. Now, when he appears, he states that he's angry about how people treat rocks and seems to want retribution. And so you take him out, just like King Bob-omb. Now, I bet all of you already know where this is going. I want to see a king version of the Chain Chomp, and I want this version to be very special. So I think it should be made out of some sort of lava stone or metal that is constantly incredibly hot. In a way, he would be very similar to the Chain Chomp seen in Super Mario Sunshine, who are also red hot. Personally, I would love to see this because it would make him a lot scarier, because even touching him deals damage. To be honest, I would love it if this boss was found at a volcano, which explains why he's incredibly hot, and it would also be a cool arena for a fight. And of course, he deals damage with his teeth, just like a normal Chain Chomp, and touching him also deals damage. But how do you take him out? Well, you have to push him back into the volcano, of course, which will take some effort, but if you succeed, he plugs the hole, and the volcano won't be a danger to anyone anymore. Something like this could also fit very well into the plot of some Super Mario game. Just imagine the volcano is about to explode and will take out a village, and so Mario goes to check it out and solves the problem. Personally, I think Nintendo could do something really cool with it. And then we finally have a Chain Chomp boss fight. So, now that we've reached the end of this video, what do you think of my ideas? What could be improved about them, for example? And what kind of ideas do you have? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to share your own ideas in the comments as well. And let me know what I should do next. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, click the bell button, tell me in the comments all your ideas and your opinions, and then I'll read them all.